Hi, welcome to Fusion Beads. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do pearl knotting. So in this technique video, I will be covering the very basic pearl knotting that I have here in this example. And then I'll also be covering floating pearl knotting where you have your pearls, but then you also have exposed silk in between your pearls. I will show you how to stretch your silk and then also show you different finishing options for the end. So I will show you all the products and tools you'll need to make these designs. For our product today, I have two sizes and finishes of the Freshwater Pearls. I have the Griffin silk beading cord in two sizes and colors. I have some clamshell beads in two styles. I have one with the hook and then one that has two loops. I have some jump rings, and then I have some different clasp options to finish your necklace. For our tools, you're going to need some tweezers that have a fine point. You're going to want some sharp scissors or some Xeron thread and fiber scissors, some hypo-tube cement, a tape measure, or a ruler. So I'm going to get set up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so before you begin your project, you're going to need to stretch your silk cord, because the silk cord is not pre-stretched, and if you don't stretch it before you begin to use it, it can sag and stretch out over time, and then you'll have to restring your project. So there's two ways to stretch your silk cord. If it's lightweight enough like this 4, you can just do it by hand, or if it's a heavier weight cord, or if you don't want to stretch it by hand, you can get your silk cord wet, and then add some weights on the ends to weigh it down and let it hang overnight so that it stretches and the cord will dry. So I'm just going to show you how to hand stretch this cord right now. So when you get your cord, you take it out of the package and it comes all wrapped up here and it has a nice needle attached. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the needle off there first here. And then we're just going to unwind it. And this is why you need to stretch it too, because see, if you kind of, like, just the way you take it off the cord, it's all has these kinks in there. And so it's like, if you're doing like a floating pearl, you'll see that and it won't look very pretty. So you just want to go ahead and take it off, all the cord off of the little card here. I'm just going to set that aside. So now I've got my silk cord here. And to hand stretch it, you're just going to I just kind of wrap a few of it around my fingers here and just really stretch. And it can kind of hurt your hands a little bit. But then you can see how much it's relaxed compared to the other part here. So you're just going to want to go through and just do that whole thing to your cord. And I just kind of start in little sections. I'm doing really small section here to kind of try to show you. But normally you could do really long sections at a time and just really stretch it between your hands there. And I would do it a couple of times to go through it just to give it a nice stretch. So then that way, once you string your pearls up, it's already pre-stretched and it's not going to continue to stretch out anymore. So I'm going to just do this a little bit more off camera here, but you can get the point of how to hand stretch it. So if I wanted to not hand stretch it, I would do the same process and taking the cord off the paper there, and then I would submerge all this in some water and make sure that it is saturated, and then squeeze it dry. You don't need it to be dripping dry. And then just tie something on both ends that will weigh it down and hang it over a hook. But make sure when you hang it that you leave enough room so that once it starts to dry and it stretches out, that your weight doesn't touch the ground. And so I normally would just leave it hanging overnight. And then that way it's nice and stretched out and you won't have any kinks in there and it's ready to be used. So I'm just going to continue to hand stretch this one and we'll be right back. So I went ahead and I finished hand stretching my cord, so it's nice and has no kinks and it's all ready to go. So to begin, we're going to add a clamshell to the end that we'll be using to attach our clasp to. So there's two different kind of clamshells here that I have. I've got this one that has two little loops. So when you close the clamshell, you would just add like a jump ring through those two loops. And then this guy here, he just has like a little hook. So once you close this clamshell, you could just insert a soldered jump ring into that little hook and then bring that down and close that. Or you could just go ahead and attach this directly to your clasp. So those are just the two styles that are out there. I'm going to go ahead and use the one with the two loops just because I like that style better myself. So I'm going to go ahead and set that one aside. So to add that, you're going to just go ahead and pick it up. You're going to use a needle that's already strung on the cord there, and you're just going to go ahead and just string on the clamshell. And when you're stringing that on, you just want to make sure that you are going from the inside of it out, because you want those two loops to be facing away from your pearls, because the two loops are what is going to have your clasp attached to. And then the other part will be sitting right next to your pearl. So you're just going to bring it all the way down, that clamshell all the way down to the end of your cord here. Oops, I want to make sure I don't get any knots in there until I'm ready. So I'm bringing it down. I'm just going to turn it around here. So, all right. So I'm kind of close to the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie a basic overhand knot right at the end of my cord. So it's just a basic overhand knot. And bring that together. So I've got a little tiny knot there. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim the cord right next to that knot. You can see that there. And then I'm just going to bring up my clamshell so it's a little closer. And then I'm going to take some hypo cement and I'm going to put a little dab on that knot. So whenever you knot any kind of cord, it's always best to put some glue on there just to secure it. Try to get the lid back on the hypo here. And I can't quite, so I'm just going to set that aside for right now. So, I've got my glue on there. Got my glue, if the camera will focus there. And bring my clamshell around. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and I'm just going to gently close the clamshell around that knot. And it will totally cover the knot so you don't see that, and it's just nice and finished. And then those two loops you can just attach a jump ring to and then attach your clasp. So now I'm ready to begin actual pearl knotting. So I'm just going to set that aside. So I'm going to find the end that has my needle on it. And I'm just going to string my first pearl. So you're going to pick up your pearl and you're going to go ahead and string it on the needle. My needle is a little bent there, so I'm just going to try to smooth it out a little bit with my fingers. So you just string on your pearl. And you're going to bring it all the way down to the clamshell you just added. So it's just going to sit right next to there. So it looks nice and finished there. So I'm just going to start my first knot for my pearl knotting. So to do that, it's just a basic overhand knot. So you're going to bring the cord through there. And then you're going to take your fine tips tweezers. That's why you want them to be nice and a fine tip. So you're going to go through that loop that you've created with your overhand knot, and you're going to grab the main cord there right above that pearl. So you're going through the knot or through the loop that you created, and you're going to grab the pearl right at the tip, making sure the pearl's sitting really nice and snug against that clamshell. And then you're going to just pull on the main cord and just tighten that loop, which is that overhand knot, right around the tip of your tweezers. That's why you want really nice fine point tweezers, so that you can get a nice, secure, tight knot. So I bring it down. I'm going to pull out my tweezers. But there's a little bit of room you could tell in there from when my tweezers were around it. So then I just always grab my tweezers. I bring it right above the knot on that main cord, and then I just kind of bring it gently down and kind of pull it snug there, and it just kind of seats up that knot so that it sits next to that pearl. So, got our first one, and then we just string on a second pearl. And these are freshwater pearls, so sometimes there is a little irregularity to them. So if one doesn't fit on there, just grab another pearl. It doesn't really help that my needle's a little janky, but that's all right. So then I'm just bringing that down there. So you bring the pearl down to that knot that we just created, and we're going to do another overhand knot. So again, just create a loop in the overhand knot, bringing all the cord through. And you just want to make sure you take care not to create any knots in your cord where you don't want them, because then you won't obviously be able to slide your pearls on there. So you're just going to bring that down. You're going to want to grab the main cord right above that pearl. Make sure you're going through that loop you just created with that overhand knot, and then you pull the main cord there to tighten that knot around the tip of those tweezers. And then just pull them out. And then I always just grab the cord above, put the tweezers tight against it. Not super, super tight, but just enough so that you can kind of snug that knot down next to that pearl. And there's the beginning of your pearl knotted piece. And so it's like you just keep doing that. So you're going to grab your needle that is on there and grab another pearl. And once you kind of get in the rhythm of this, it can be kind of therapeutic. I do like pearl knotting myself. I don't necessarily do the traditional pearl knotting, but you can use it in a lot of like more modern jewelry, because you don't have to just use silk cord to pearl knot with. You can really use kind of any kind of cord depending on the look that you want and if your beads fit on there. My needle is hindering me a little bit there of letting any of these pearls get on there. It's this one. There we go. Sliding on my pearl and bringing it all the way down to the end again, so it sits next to the knot that we just created. Again, just make an overhand knot, bringing all your cord through there. Taking your tweezers, you're going to grab right above that pearl, just using just the tip, making sure you're going through that loop that you created with the overhand knot, and then just pull that main cord down until it secures that knot right around the tip of those tweezers. And then you pull your tweezers out, and then you just bring them around that cord and kind of just tighten that knot up a little bit. And there you go. And you just continue that process for the length of the necklace and or bracelet that you want. I'm just going to make a very traditional pearl knotted piece here, so it's probably just going to be about 16 inches long with these pearls here. So I'm just going to keep on stringing. I'm going to do one more here. Just to show you guys. All right, so bringing them down. Oop. So he just sits next to that knot that you created before. So just create another overhand knot. Bringing all your cord through. Grabbing your tweezers, going through the loop that you've created. Grabbing that main cord right next to that bead, making sure your other pearl is really snug against that other knot. And then just grab your main cord and then just pull that cord so that it secures that knot around the tip of the tweezers. Pull your tweezers out, grab the cord again right above the knot, and then just kind of slide it down, and it will tighten that knot against that pearl. And that is really all there is to pearl knotting. So see, you have this really nice little drape. I love pearl knotting because I like how the cord feels in projects and stuff. So I'm just going to continue to add my pearls until I get to about 16 inches. And then I will show you how to finish the other end. So I'll continue doing this and we'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and I finished stringing up and pearl knotting the rest of my pearls here for my length of necklace that I want. So now I just need to finish the other end. So I just have a couple clasp options here. You can really add any kind of clasp to your necklace that you prefer. The very traditional is a box clasp here that we have. That's just kind of the classic look for like a classic strand of pearls. You could do a basic lobster, or you could do any kind of toggle of your choice. I'm just going to go with the good old classic box clasp. It's a nice look, and it just is very feminine and looks very nice with the pearls. So to do that, we just need to add the clamshell bead on the end, just like we did here on the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and string that on because I've got all my pearls on here and I'm ready to go. But when you string the clamshell on, this time instead of going inside the inner and then going out, you're going to go from the outside going in because you want obviously the loops to be on the outside for that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up and I'm going to go and just string that onto my needle. Oops. And then I'm going to bring that down to my last pearl here. And we're going to want to tie a little overhand knot in there, just like we did in between each pearl using the tweezers. So I'm just going to go ahead and loop my knot, bring it through. I'm going to grab my tweezers and I'm going to go through the loop and grab that main cord inside the clamshell there. But make sure it's like really nice and tight against the clamshell so that my knot is secure and tight towards the bottom there. So I'm just going to pull that main cord just like we did previously with the pearl knotting, making sure that your tweezers are inside that loop, and then you're just going to pull that knot down and it will go around your tweezers. You can kind of see it in there. So I'm going to pull that down nice and tight. Then I'm going to take my tweezers out. And just like I did before where I showed you how I put the tweezers back on the cord and then just kind of pull that down and secure that knot. And then I can go ahead and cut off the excess cord with my cutters here. Set that aside. I'm going to take my little hypo cement again. Just going to add a drop in there because you always want a nice little bit of glue to secure that knot. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and I'm just going to close that clamshell over that knot. All right. So now I'm just ready to add my jump rings and then to put on my box clasp. So I'm just going to get some chain nose pliers here and open these jump rings. And to open a jump ring, you're just going to grab on both sides of it, pulling one side towards you and one side away from you. If I can see where the opening's at. There we go. So one side towards you, one side away from you, and then you're just going to string it through those two loops on the clamshell bead there. So you see, it's just strung through there, and then you're going to take your beautiful, delicate box clasp, and they already have a little jump ring on there. I'm just going to attach my jump ring to the little jump ring that's already on there for the one side, and then you just close the jump ring by bringing the two sides together and then just kind of go back and forth, and then when you get that nice snap, you know it's nice and secure. So we have, see, one side done there, and then I'm just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Let's go ahead, I'm going to open my jump ring. See, oh there, find where it's opened at. Alrighty, so, all right, so open it up. going to grab this little clamshell here, go through there, and then I'm just going to grab the loop that's on the other side of the clasp there, and then just close my jump ring there. And there you have this really nice little finished clasp there. And it looks like I have a little piece of metal off of my clamshell for some reason. I'm not sure what it got hooked on. So I'm just, normally they don't come like that. I'm not sure what happened. Might have cut it maybe with my cutters by accident. So there, you have this nice finished necklace here. It's kind of hard to see because I'm up so close. But you have this nice, beautiful, finished pearl knotted necklace. These make really great gifts. It's a nice classic for like graduation or weddings. It's just a nice strand. And I just love how it drapes and feels. It's just a really nice technique. So this is your basic, pearl knotting where you have no spaces in between. Next, I'm going to show you how to do pearl knotting where you have your beads, your pearls are floating on your silk cord so that you have exposed silk cord. So I'm going to get set up for that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm ready to begin my pearl knotting floating necklace project. So for this technique, it starts just like the traditional pearl knotting, but this time I'm just going to use the other style of clamshell here, the one with the little hook, just to kind of show you a different look. So just like we did before, you want to grab your needle that's already on your cord, and I've already pre-stretched all my cord, so I'm ready to go. It's nice and stretched and relaxed. You're going to want to string on your clamshell, making sure you're going through the inner part of it first and then coming out so that your hook is on the outside. So you're just going to bring it down to the end of your cord here. And we're going to tie an overhand knot. So I'm at the end here, just going to tie an overhand knot. Bring that down so I have my little knot there. Bring the clamshell a little closer. And it looks like this cord is quite a bit smaller than the other cord I had. The other cord I was using was a 4 and this is a 2. And so this knot's pretty small and the clamshell will go right through it. So I'm just going to do a double knot just to make sure that my clamshell stays. So I'm just going to do a double knot, you just create a loop again, like you would a knot, like a regular knot, but then you want to just kind of grab like at right above that knot where you have your first one, and then just bring your 2 pieces of cord together and you just will create a knot right on top of it there. Just pull that. And you just have a nice double knot there. And then that way I know for sure my clamshell will not slide over that. So I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to trim that end close to that knot. Just get my clamshell up here a little tighter. And then I'm going to grab some hypo. I'm going to put a dab of hypo on there because you always want to put glue on any kind of knot that you do. And then you're going to bring your clamshell over the knot. And then I'm just going to use chain nose pliers this time to close this one, because this one's a little stiffer metal. And then so I'm just going to, then you'll just close at one side. You just want to gently close it. You don't want to smash that clam shell. And then there, you've got this nice finished side here. And this has just got a little hook. And then you would just attach your clasp directly to that hook, or you could just add it like a soldered jump ring if you wanted to do that. So now I'm ready to start stringing my pearls. So I'm just going to set my cutters aside here. So when you begin this, it's just like the traditional pearl knotting. You're just going to grab one pearl and you're going to bring it down tight against your clamshell for your first bead. And you're going to just tie an overhand knot right next to that pearl, just like we did before. Again, taking your tweezers, going through the loop you just created, and grab the cord right above that pearl using just the tip of the tweezers. And then you're going to grab that main cord and just pull on that, so that's going to cinch that knot up around the tip of the tweezers. And then you're just going to pull your tweezers out. And then I always just grab the cord again and then bring it down and kind of just tighten that knot, further tightening it against that pearl. And that created your first spot there. And so this is going to be my necklace where it's going to be floating. The pearls are going to be floating, and you'll have some exposed silk, which is kind of a fun look. So I'm just going to take my tape measure here. I'm just going to turn it the other way around here so that it's a little easier, so it's not in my way. And I think I'm going to have my pearls float about 2 inches apart from each other. I figure that's probably not too bad of a spot. So I've got that sitting there. So I'm just going to kind of use that as my marker. I'm just going to go ahead and do an overhand knot just in the general area of where I think my 2 inches would be to get myself started here. I'm going to grab my tweezers going through the loop that I just created, and I'm going to grab that main cord, and then I'm just going to sit it next to this one again to see where I need to actually grab it at. So make sure you're going through that loop and grabbing that main cord here. So make sure that I got it, and it looks like I need a little bit more room. So that's about 2 inches right there. So you're just going to, so I've got the 2 inches. You just want to make sure that you be nice and consistent between each one. Again, just like you did before, bring that knot down around the tip of the tweezers, then pull your tweezers out, and then just tighten that knot up a little bit. And you can also just pull those two sides together. So there, you've just got that knot there. Barely see it, but it's sitting there. And then that will give our pearl something to rest up against in our floating necklace. So I'm going to grab another pearl here. Go ahead and string that on here. And then you're going to bring it down to the knot that you just created. So see, you'll have this nice, so then once it's finished, that's what you'll kind of see. And it's kind of a fun look, especially if you did like a contrasting cord or something. This cord color kind of complements the pearls, but you could definitely do a contrasting if you like. So just need to tie another knot to secure that pearl in place there. So we're just going to go ahead and do an overhand knot. Whoops. Don't want that little loop in there. Do an overhand knot. Bring that through the loop. Grabbing your tweezers, and you're going to grab up above that main cord there, right above that pearl, so it's nice and tight against the pearl, and then you're just going to bring that knot down around the tip of the tweezers, pull the tweezers out, grab that main cord, and then just slide them down gently and give it a nice secure. And there, you've got this nice little floating pearl. And then again, we're just going to mark our 2-inch space and tie a knot to anchor the first pearl end. And this is all there really is for the floating, is like you just need to be consistent in your measurements. So make sure that you use like a ruler or a tape measure or some kind of marker to mark your spots so that you are consistent and that it's not at the wrong spot. So I just need to be a little farther up. So make sure my knot here is at the 2 inches, and then I grabbed at the mark. So there, this one should be nice and good. And then you just pull it tight around there, tip of your tweezers. Your tweezers out, and then just secure that and then pull that tight. So I've got my nice 2 inches of space there in between. And then I string on my next pearl. There we go. I'm going to try this little guy here. Kind of bent my needle there. All right. Here we go. Stringing this guy on here. There. I bring him down. to the knot we just created. And then we're just going to tie a knot on the other side to anchor that pearl there. So do an overhand knot, creating your loop. And I want to grab your tweezers, using the tip, go through the loop, grab that main cord, and then just grab the other side of the main cord with your fingers, and then just pull it so it tightens that knot around the tip of those tweezers. Pull it nice and tight, and then pull the tweezers out, grab the cord again, and then just gently kind of slide that knot down. There. And that is the beginning of your nice floating pearl knotty necklace. So I'm just going to continue to do that, leaving exactly 2 inches of space between every pearl. So I'm going to just go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you how to finish the end and add your clasp. Okay, so I went ahead and I finished pearl knotting up my necklace here and with the floating pearls. So I've got that all done, and now I'm ready to just put my other clamshell on, just like we did when we started the piece. So I'm just going to add the clamshell just like we did before here. So I'm going to grab the needle that is on the cord that you have. You're going to grab your clamshell, but this time instead of going inside and then coming out, you're going to start on the outside and come in so that your knot sits nice and secure inside there. So just bring your clamshell down all the way down to your last pearl there. And then we're just going to do a couple of knots. Just like we did before, just create an overhand knot, pull it through, grab your tweezers, going through that loop that you just created, and you want to grab that cord. So I'm going through that loop that I created, get a little smaller here, so there. And I'm grabbing that main cord right there close to that clamshell. And then I'm just going to pull that cord tight around the tip of the tweezers there. It's pretty tight, hard to see in there, but it is in there. So got the first knot, and I'm just going to do a second knot just so that clamshell does not slide off there. Just because we are working with like the finest cord. This is like a size 2. So to do that again, create a loop, grab your tweezers, I just kind of go right below, right on that knot that we just created, because I just want to make a double knot, and then just pull that down, and then that knot will sit right on top of that other knot and create a double knot there. So then I know for sure it will not come out. And then I just always grab the top of the cord and then just kind of pull that knot in there, just kind of further tighten it into that clamshell. And hopefully the camera, so you can kind of see that little knot is right there. So again, just like we did the other brace or the other necklace, I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off, my cord right above that knot there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of hypo cement. I'm going to put a dab in there on that knot inside that clamshell there. And then I'm just going to take my chain nose pliers and then just gently close that clamshell over that knot. And there, it's nice and secure between the glue and the clamshell in the 2 knots. That's not going anywhere. So now I'm ready to add my clasp. So on the other necklace, we used the clamshell bead that had the 2 loops. So we just put a jump ring through that. This one has got this little, like a loop started. So what I normally do is I just take some round nose and I just finish continuing that loop almost like you would like a simple loop. So just bring it in there and then just kind of round it down there so that you close that. And then I'm just going to grab my chain nose and pick up a jump ring. So you got your 2 chain nose, grab your jump ring, both sides, pull one side towards you, one side away from you. You're going to go through that loop that you just created there with that little turn, and then you're going to go through there, and then you're going to go through the loop on the toggle, because I'm going to put a toggle on this guy. And then you just go ahead and close your jump ring by bringing the 2 sides back together. If you hear that little snap, that's great. And there's one side of your necklace that is finished. And then I'll just do the exact same thing on the other side. Just bring in your round nose, just kind of like almost like you were making a simple loop. Just kind of try to bring that loop down. Just make sure it's touching either the top part of that clamshell or upon itself. And then grab a jump ring. Go ahead and open that jump ring. Go through that little loop you just created, and then you're going to add the other half of your toggle, and then close that jump ring. And there you have this nice clasp here on your little floating pearl necklace. So you have your nice floating pearls. And this is just kind of a fun look for the floating pearls if you want a little bit of space. And 2, this could be fun if you decided to do like a contrasting cord. This is very subtle where the cord kind of complements the pearls, but you could do something different, like a soft pink cord with the champagne pearls, and that could be pretty too. So I'm just going to clean up here a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just wanted to go ahead and just kind of do a little recap of our technique. So we covered in our pearl knotting technique, we did the basic pearl knotting, which is, a knot after every pearl, and they're tight and close next to each other. Then we did the floating pearl knotting, where you tie your beads on there, and then you leave some space just to show the exposed silk, and then you tie on your pearl. So you can do the floating pearl. And then I just wanted to show you these 2 techniques using untraditional beads. It's like even though it's called pearl knotting, you do not have to use pearls to do this. I actually love this technique. I do it mostly with gemstones myself. But this great inspiration piece here, Lindsay made it with a quite a bit thicker cord. This thick cord is definitely cord that you would have to stretch by doing the water soaking and then weighing it down, because this is a very heavyweight cord. But you can see she used really fun check glass beads and flowers and leaves in this piece. It has the exposed silk cord. And then on this piece here, it doesn't even use silk cord, but Katie made it, and she does have knots in between some of her beads here. So this is a very untraditional one, but again, it's still just using that basic pearl knotting technique. So I just kind of wanted to show you that even though you can make very traditional pieces with these techniques, it's like you're not limited by pearls. You can do really any kind of bead you want. You can knot almost just about any kind of product out there. So it's like, don't think that you're limited to the silk cord when you're trying to make up a project with pearl knotting. So thank you for checking out this video. And if you're new to our YouTube channel, please make sure to click the subscription button below.